Alright friends, welcome back to Learning Space. This is the fourth capsule. We are going to deliberate on non-aligned movement and India. You may ask what is meant by non-aligned movement. Before understanding that, you have to go back to the period after Second World War. After the end of Second World War, two power blocks emerged. One block was headed by the United States of America, basically with the capitalist policies, and the other block was headed by the then USSR. USSR was Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, and it broke down into several countries during 1991, if I am not wrong. Russia is one major country now, and in those days after Second World War, one group with the capitalistic ideology was headed by United States of America, and the other pole was USSR, basically with the socialist ideology. It has got its own block of countries, mostly from Eastern Europe, and Western Europe countries followed capitalistic policies, and Eastern Europe countries followed socialist policies, and most of the Eastern Europe countries were aligned with the then USSR. So, one group by USA, the other group by USSR. That was the period of Cold War, and in those days several countries in Asia as well as Africa got independence in 1950s and 1960s. After Second World War in 1945, several countries in Asia as well as several countries in Africa got independence, basically not to align with any of the Cold War groups. This non-aligned movement concept was brought. Let us not align with either capitalist USA or socialist USSR. Let us take the middle path. That was the concept of non-aligned movement, and the three brains behind it were our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, then second President of Egypt Gamal Abdel Nasser, and former President of Yugoslavia, that is Tito, that is full name Josip Broz Tito. So these three leaders primarily associated with the formation of NAM group, non-aligned movement. Let us not align either with the USA or with the USSR. That was the idea behind the establishment of this non-aligned movement in the year 1961. So, I have listed out here. NAM stands for non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement is the group of states which were not formally aligned with any major power block in Cold War era, and at present it has got 120 members, and this was formed in Belgrade in 1961. Belgrade was in the then Yugoslavia, and at present Belgrade is the capital of Serbia. And see the irony, Yugoslavia is no more in existence now. It was broke down into several countries like Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Kosovo, like that, and the prominence of Egypt has gone. Then India is tilted towards United States of America. Under these circumstances, non-aligned movement has lost its sheen, and it was conceived primarily by India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, then Egypt's second President Nasser, Yugoslavia President Tito, and along with these leaders, other two leaders associated with formation of this non-aligned movement were Indonesia's first President Sukarno and the President of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah. So these are the leaders associated with this. Please look into this picture. Jawaharlal Nehru was seen with other leaders at the formation of this non-aligned movement in Belgrade in the year 1961. Please look into this slide. This is the former Yugoslavia, and now broke down into several countries like Slovenia, Croatia, then Serbia, then Macedonia. All these countries were formed subsequent to the breakdown of Yugoslavia, and As I have already told you, this was conceptualized and formed to take the middle path for the developing world between the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc in the Cold War era. Right friends, let us look at some more information. India, since the formation of non-aligned movement, followed the path of NAM. Then subsequently, when Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister, 7th Non-Aligned Movement Summit was held in New Delhi in the year 1983, and 16th Summit in 2012 took place in Tehran, and now 17th Summit took place in Margarita Island in Venezuela. You may ask, where is Margarita Island? Margarita Island is just 40 kilometers away from the mainland of Venezuela, and it is in Caribbean Sea. Please don't forget. And please look into this slide. This is the location of Margarita Island, close to Venezuela mainland. Then what is the present status and what is the future of NAM, you may ask. India, since its inception, followed the policy of non-alignment, and our economy since independence was basically mixed economy with a socialist bias. Slightly prior to 1991, we maintained good relations with the socialist USSR. Sometimes slightly we tilted towards the USSR. That is different story, but mainly we followed the path of non-aligned movement since its inception in 1961. And India was considered to be one of the anchors for non-aligned movement. And lot of change occurred since 1991. 1991 broke down of USSR into several countries occurred. The prominence of USSR was lost in 1991. Now, the prime country after the breakage of USSR, that is Russia, is now in recession, and in recent times India tilted towards United States of America by leaving hesitations of history. In the words of the Prime Minister, recently India signed Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, and it is a clear example that India is tilting towards United States of America in recent times. And after the breakage of Soviet Union in 1991, specifically post 2000, now China is rising as a second pole, as a rival to United States of America. Subsequent to the breakage of USSR, people thought that it will be unipolar world with the United States of America as the anchor. But in recent times, China is also rising, and India is now tilted towards United States of America. So, under these circumstances, the middle path or the non-alignment conceptualized by the first Prime Minister of the nation can no longer fits into the ideology of India as far as foreign affairs are concerned. And look at this point. Another important aspect is the world itself is divided at the present juncture. Russia is coming closer to China. In those days, USSR has got a lot of prominence. And now see the irony. Russia, in its truncated form from the then existent USSR, is now coming close to China. Then second thing is, Gulf countries are divided on Sunni Shia groups. The Sunni bloc is dominated by Saudi Arabia, Shia bloc is dominated by Iran. So Gulf is divided on religious lines. Then former communist countries of Eastern Europe are embracing capitalism by deserting socialist policies. And again the world may lead to bipolar, with one pole headed by USA and the other pole most likely to be headed by China. And at the same time, in the era of confrontations, in the era of this strategic alignments, anything may happen. Multipolar world is also not ruled out. So this is the present day scenario. Under these circumstances, non-aligned movement future is at stake. So the final word is, under these circumstances, India almost buried the concept of non-aligned movement. It is tilting towards United States of America. And at the same time, it is clearly evident when the 17th NAM summit at Margarita Island was attended by the Vice President. This is only the second time India is not represented by the head of the state. The first time was in 1979 when the caretaker Prime Minister Charan Singh could not attend the summit. Now Narendra Modi skipped the summit. So from this, it is clearly evident that India is saying bye-bye to non-aligned movement. So as far as India is concerned, it is a bye-bye to non-aligned movement. Right friends, let us conclude here. Have a nice day. Thank you.